Let me make one thing very clear before anyone rushes to the comments with, "You got what you deserved," and "He did the right thing." I did not mean it literally. When I said, "Please, I could replace you in a week," I was not standing in front of some secret line of candidates, waiting to take his place. I did not have a list of people ready. I did not even have one specific person in mind. I was angry. I was tired. I felt like he was taking me for granted, and I reached for the sharpest line I could find. I wanted him to feel insecure for once. That is the honest truth. I wanted him to stop walking around like he was the only one doing anyone a favor by staying in the relationship. I wanted him to realize that other people might want me too, that I had options, that I was not stuck. So yes, I said, "Please, I could replace you in a week." But I expected it to stay what it was in my head, a dramatic line, an exaggeration, something he would roll his eyes at, maybe get hurt by for an hour or two, and then we would move on. I did not expect him to look me in the eyes and quietly answer, "Good thing I don't need a week." I did not expect him to prove it in less than 24 hours. And I definitely did not expect to end up sitting on the curb outside our building with a suitcase beside me, watching my own partner walk back inside with another woman while I was still trying to process what had just happened. So, if you are going to judge me, fine. Just hear the whole story first. Because it is very easy to type, "You started it from a distance." It is different when you are the one who watched a relationship fall apart over one sentence that was never supposed to be real. Before we dive in, if you are watching this as an episode, remember to tap hype, leave a like, and write your city or country in the comments. I always read them. It is comforting to know that somewhere out there, someone is listening to my side, even if they do not agree. All right. This is how one joke turned into my replacement, arriving at our front door the very next day. If you looked at my relationship with Daniel from the outside, you would not call it dramatic. You would call it stable. He is the type of person who pays bills early, the type who reads rental contracts, compares insurance offers, checks reviews twice before buying anything more expensive than a toaster. He keeps lists. He sets reminders. He knows when subscriptions renew and when rent is due without ever having to ask. He is also the type who corrects the way you load the dishwasher. That was cute at the beginning. He would stand behind me, laughing, and say, "You know you get more plates in if you alternate them, right?" Then he would fix it and kiss my cheek, and I would roll my eyes and call him a home engineer. Back then, I liked that about him. It made me feel like my life was finally being held together by someone more organized than me. Because I am not that person. I am the one who looks at a drawer and thinks, if it closes, it is fine. I am the one who remembers birthdays, but forgets where I put my keys. I am the one who will stay up late working on something creative, and then oversleep and rush out the door with wet hair. We were opposites, but in a way that seemed balanced, until it stopped feeling balanced and started feeling like I was constantly on trial. It did not happen overnight. First it was the dishwasher, then it was laundry. He would take a shirt out of the machine and say, "Did you check the label? You are going to ruin it washing it on that setting." Then it was groceries. "You bought this brand. The other one is cheaper and it tastes better." Then the way I folded towels, the way I wiped the table, the way I left my shoes near the couch instead of in the hallway. They were small comments. None of them cruel, but they were endless. At some point, "Can I help?" turned into, "I will just redo it when you are done." Do you know what that does to you after a while? You stop trying. Why would I spend time cooking if he is going to stand there and tell me I cut the vegetables unevenly? Why fold the laundry if he's going to refold everything? Why start cleaning if I know he will walk behind me and fix the parts I missed? So yes, I let things slide. I did less. I left dishes in the sink sometimes. I told myself, if it bothers him so much, he can do it his way. And he did. At first without comment, then with tension, then with resentment. It would be nice if you helped, he said one evening while he was loading the dishwasher. I tried helping, I said, scrolling on my phone on the couch. You always correct me. I correct what needs correcting, he answered. That is not the same thing. Well, it feels the same to me, I replied. I am tired of feeling like a trainee in my own home. We had that same argument in variations a dozen times. Him, I am carrying most of the weight here. Me, you decided to carry it because you do not like how I do things. Him, I just want some basic effort. Me, I just want basic appreciation. Round and round. The night everything exploded, the topic was dishes again. Yes, dishes. You can ruin a whole relationship over cutlery if you are both stubborn enough. It started with a pan. I had cooked pasta late and left the pan soaking in the sink. In my mind, that meant I still intended to wash it. In his mind, that meant I had abandoned it. I woke up the next morning to the sound of him banging things around in the kitchen. I told you I would clean it, I called from the bedroom. You told me that yesterday, he replied. It is still here. It needed to soak, I said, walking in. It's soaked, he said. The food is basically holding a meeting in here. He was exaggerating, but fine. I would have done it, I muttered, grabbing a mug. When? He asked. Next week. You are being dramatic, I rolled my eyes. It is one pan. It is never just one pan, he said, sharper now. It is one pan, plus the plates from lunch, plus the mugs from tea, plus the bowl that you will wash later that sits there for 2 days. You know what? I said, instantly on defense. If it bothers you this much, maybe you should not live with someone. Maybe you should live in a show apartment. And maybe you should live with someone who is fine doing all the work, he replied, because right now that is what it feels like. There it was. The sentence I always knew was lurking. You are not doing all the work, I snapped. I do plenty. Like what? He asked. I hate that question. It sounds like an audit. Like everything that is not on your little checklist, I fired back. Remember how you never have to think about birthdays? Who buys the gifts? Who calls your mother when you forget? Who organizes plans with friends so you do not lose everyone? Who does all the invisible things that never make it onto your precious chore chart? He opened his mouth, then closed it. I am not saying you do nothing, he said. I am saying you do things only when you feel like it, and I am the one keeping everything from falling apart. Falling apart, I repeated, because of some plates and a pan. Right, our whole life is hanging by a plate. This is not about plates, he said, and yes, I know every couple says that at some point. It is about respect. It is about you assuming that I will pick up the slack no matter what. And you assuming I should be grateful you have standards, I shot back. Newsflash, I had a life before you. I lived alone. My home did not collapse. Maybe your standards were different, he said, because right now, if I let things go at your pace, we would be eating off cardboard. It was not what he said, it was how he said it. The tone, the implication that my way of existing was dirty, lazy, unacceptable. Something in me snapped. I was tired of feeling like the less responsible one in every conversation. The messy one. The childish one. The one who needed to be corrected. So I did what I always do when I feel cornered. I went for his pride. Do you know what the difference is between you and me? I asked. He was still by the sink, hands wet, dishcloth hanging from one hand. What? He said. You walk around like you are doing me a favor by staying, I said. Like I would collapse without you, like no one else would ever put up with me. That is not what I think, he replied. You are putting words in my mouth. Really, I said, because that is how you talk. If I did not do this, nothing would get done. If I did not remind you, you would forget. If I did not fix this, it would stay broken. You act like you are my only chance at having a stable life. I never said I am your only chance, he answered. I said you are not taking responsibility seriously. Exactly, I said, feeling the anger turn into something sharp. You think you are irreplaceable in this story. I should have stopped there. I should have said, but you are not, and I want you to treat me like a partner instead of a trainee, or something mature that would have led to an actual discussion. Instead, I smirked. Please, I said, I could replace you in a week. The words came out so easily. I watched them land. He went very still. He did not slam anything. He did not raise his voice. He did not throw the dishcloth on the floor. He just looked at me. Longer than usual, longer than was comfortable. His whole face changed, not into anger, into something colder. He dried his hands on a towel slowly. Then, in a voice that was almost gentle, he said, "Good thing I do not need a week." I laughed. I swear to you, I laughed. Because what else do you do when someone says something like that? Treat it as drama, obviously. Right, I said, waving a hand. Sure. You, who triple-check the rating of every restaurant before booking it, are going to replace your long-term partner in under a week. Of course. He did not answer. He just walked past me, out of the kitchen into the bedroom. The door closed. Not slammed, closed. I rolled my eyes. Fine, be in a mood, I muttered to myself. You started it anyway. And that, right there, was the moment I could have fixed everything with one honest apology. I could have walked after him, said, "I went too far. I did not mean that. I just feel small when you talk to me like that, and I wanted to hurt you back." Instead, I scrolled on my phone. I told a friend over chat. We had another stupid fight. I told him I could replace him in a week. He is being dramatic. She replied with a laughing emoji and queen behavior. I took that as confirmation that I was right. And while I was busy feeling like a brave main character, Daniel was in the next room making phone calls that would prove exactly how replaceable I was in his mind. He did not sleep in the bed that night. I went to bed late, expecting him to come in eventually. He never did. When I woke up, I could hear him moving around quietly in the kitchen. I walked in, ready with a half-apology, half-defensive speech. He was already dressed. Jeans, simple shirt, jacket. There was a small travel bag by the door. "Going somewhere?" I asked. "Out for the day," he said. "I have some things to take care of." His tone was soft, too soft. "Are you still angry?" I asked, trying to keep it light. He turned, poured coffee into a mug, and handed it to me. "I am not angry," he said. "I am clear." "Clear about what?" I scoffed. "About the fact that you did not like one sentence I said in the middle of an argument you started." He looked at me over the rim of his own mug. "You will see," he said. It was not a threat, it was a statement. "See what?" I pushed. He set his mug down. "How replaceable I am," he said simply. I rolled my eyes again. "Oh, come on, Daniel," I said. "You think going out and having coffee with someone is going to scare me? You are not that type. You will sit somewhere with your laptop and answer emails and then come home like always." "If that is what you believe," he said, "then nothing I say will change it." He picked up his bag. "I will be back before evening," he said. "You should start thinking seriously about what you said." "Maybe you should start thinking seriously about how you talk to me," I shot back. He nodded once. "Already did," he said. "Yesterday." He opened the door, stepped out, and closed it behind him. I stood there with my coffee, telling myself he was being dramatic, that he would go to a park, maybe see a friend, cool off, and come back with some calm speech about respect. To prove to myself that I did not care, I posted a story, just a photo of my coffee and the caption, "Some people really cannot handle a joke." The irony of that, in hindsight, is almost painful. Around noon, my phone buzzed with a notification from his account. He had posted a story. Curiosity beat pride. I tapped it open. The first thing I saw was a table, cafe interior, wooden surface, 2 plates with food already half eaten, 2 cups, his hand visible near the edge of the frame, and another hand, a woman's hand, manicured nails, simple bracelet, resting casually on his wrist like it belonged there. He had tagged the cafe, but not the person. Still, I felt my stomach twist. My first thought was not, who is she? It was, he posted this. Daniel does not post things impulsively. He does not share half-thought stories. If it is on his page, he meant it to be there. I stared at the picture until the story looped. Then I messaged him. Who is that? He replied almost immediately. Someone who did not joke about replacing me. I read it 3 times. My fingers flew across the keyboard. Are you serious right now? I wrote. Are you trying to make me jealous? This is childish. He replied, no, this is clarity. I called him. He declined. I called again. He declined again. I sent, Daniel, stop this. We had one fight. Can we talk like adults? He did not answer. Instead, another notification popped up. Profile picture changed. I tapped his profile. His old photo, just him, neutral background, was gone. In its place, a new picture. Him, at that same cafe, sitting side by side with a woman whose face I could now see fully. She was pretty, not exaggerated, just composed, confident. Clean lines, simple dress, easy smile. She was leaning toward him. He was smiling. They looked comfortable. My chest hurt. I took a screenshot before I even realized I had done it. My first impulse was to call him again. My second impulse was to call his sister. His sister, Anna, answered on the second ring. Hey, she said. What is going on? Daniel texted me this morning. What did he say? I asked, skipping the greeting. That he might need me later if you tried to turn this into a one-sided story, she said. Of course he had said that. You saw his profile picture? I demanded. Yeah, she said. Cute, right? Cute, I repeated, my voice already climbing. He is in a relationship with me, or did everyone forget that part overnight? You are the one who said you could replace him in a week, she replied calmly. He just decided not to wait that long. That was a joke, I yelled. You know how we are. We say things. We do not mean them. Some things you should not say even as a joke, she said, especially when he has been telling you for months that he feels taken for granted. Oh, so now he is telling everyone I am the villain, I snapped. He did not tell you that he has been criticizing me non-stop, that he acts like a manager in his own home. Actually, she said, he did. And you are okay with this? I asked. With him going out the next day and posting pictures with some woman, like our relationship meant nothing. I am not going to say I love the method, she answered, but I understand the message. What message? I demanded. That he is not going to live in a place where he is treated like a default option, she said. You told him to his face that he is replaceable. You cannot be shocked he believed you. You are supposed to be on my side, I muttered. I am on the side of whoever is acting like an adult in the moment, she replied. Right now, that is not you. I wanted to argue more, but my throat felt tight. So that is it, I asked. You are all just going to stand behind him while he posts pictures with some stranger like he is free. First of all, she said, she's not a stranger. Second, I am not standing behind anyone. I am simply saying he warned you. You told him you could replace him in a week. He said he did not need a week. You are upset that he followed through. It has not even been 24 hours, I said. How is that even real? You do not meet someone that fast. There was a pause. When do you think they met? She asked quietly. The question hung there. What do you mean? I replied slowly. Maybe you should ask him that, she said. I have to go. I hope you both figure yourselves out, but I am not going to pretend he is the only one who crossed a line. She hung up. I sat there, phone in my hand, staring at the photo again. When do you think they met? I brushed the thought away. He is not that type, I told myself. He is just trying to scare me. That thought comforted me for exactly 4 hours. When he finally came home, the sun was low. The hallway was full of that orange light that makes everything look prettier than it really is. I heard the key in the lock. I had spent the whole afternoon rehearsing speeches. One version where I was calm and mature. One version where I was angry and righteous. One version where I cried and said I did not mean it. What I actually said when he walked in was, "So, you are serious?" He set his keys in the bowl by the door. "Very," he said. His eyes were clear, no trace of guilt. That was when I saw the suitcase. Not his. Mine. Standing by the door, packed, zipped, my jacket folded on top of it. "What is that?" I asked, even though I knew. "I packed your essentials," he said. "Clothes, toiletries, important documents. The rest of your things are in storage. The address and access code are in the outer pocket." I laughed. It sounded wrong, too high. "You are not actually serious," I said. "You do realize you are throwing away a whole relationship over one sentence and a staged cafe photo, right?" "Over one sentence?" he repeated. "You think this is about one sentence?" "What else would it be about?" I said, folding my arms. "We have had stupid fights before. We always moved on. This time you decided to run off, find some woman, and turn it into a picture show." He stepped closer, but not enough to touch me. "This is not about one sentence," he said quietly. "It is about everything that came before it. The sentence was just the moment I realized I do not want to be with someone who sees me as a background character in their own story." "Background character?" I scoffed. "You have more control in this house than anyone I know. You run everything." "That is not the same as being respected," he said. "I took on more because I thought we were building something together. You turned it into a stage where you act like you are doing me a favor just by standing next to me." "You are rewriting history," I said. "You liked being in charge. You liked being the responsible one. Now suddenly you are a victim because I made one comment during a fight." He studied my face. "You did not just make one comment," he said. "You told me you could replace me in a week. You said it like you were bored, like I am just a slot on some chart you can reassign." "It was a joke," I insisted. "People say things like that all the time. I can find someone else. It does not mean they actually go and do it." "I believed you," he said simply. "You sounded very sure." "Well, maybe you should have known me well enough to know when I am just talking," I shot back. "That is exactly the problem," he replied. "I realized I do know you. I know you use lines like that when you feel powerless. I know you like having the idea of options, even when you do not plan to use them. I know you enjoy feeling like you could walk away and land on your feet." "And that bothers you?" I asked. "That I know I would be fine without you?" "No," he said. "What bothers me is that you say that to me while I am here investing my whole self into us. If you want to feel like you could replace me in a week, that is your right. But you do not get to say it to my face and expect me to stay." He nodded at the suitcase. "You said a week," he added. "Turns out I only needed a day." I could feel tears burning my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. "So who is she?" I asked. "The mysterious woman who appeared in less than 24 hours. Someone you just met, or someone who has been waiting in the background?" His jaw tightened slightly. "She is someone who listens," he said, "and someone who does not treat me like the head of a cleaning crew." "That is not an answer," I said. "Did you know her before yesterday?" "Yes," he said. "Were you talking to her while we were together?" I demanded. He did not look away. "Yes," he said again. There it was, the admission. I felt strangely relieved. "So you had someone lined up," I said, "and you want to stand here and tell me I am the one who disrespected the relationship?" "We did not have anything going on while we were together," he said. "We work in the same building. We talk. We get along. That is it." "Until yesterday," I snapped. "Until yesterday," he agreed. "When I realized I am done begging for basic respect from someone who thinks I can replace you is suitable material for an argument." "You are unbelievable," I said. "You accuse me of not taking the relationship seriously and then parade someone new on social media in a day." "I did not parade anything," he replied. "I took someone to lunch. I posted a picture. You are the one who decided to interpret it as a complete replacement." "You literally told me you do not need a week," I said. "What else am I supposed to think?" "That I meant it," he said. that I am not going to stay somewhere I am treated like a placeholder. That if you think you can find someone in a week, you should go ahead and try. I will not stand in your way. He stepped to the side, leaving a path between me and the door. Go find someone new, he said, in that same calm voice from the kitchen. You said it would be easy. Before I could answer, someone knocked. The sound made both of us look at the door. Daniel opened it. There she was, the woman from the photos. In real life, she looked even more composed. Same simple dress, hair pulled back neatly, no overly dramatic makeup, just that same easy confidence. She looked at me first, not with hostility, not with triumph, with something worse, pity. Hi, she said softly. You must be her. Her, I repeated. Wow. Do I not even get a name anymore? She winced slightly, like that landed harder than she intended. Daniel told me you had a fight, she said. I did not plan to get involved. He asked me to come by so there would be no half-stories. I looked at him. You brought her here? I asked, barely believing it. To what? Present your replacement right in front of me. I brought her so there is no confusion, he said. So you do not get to tell people I left you out of nowhere for someone I met overnight. That is not what happened. I laughed, but it came out broken. This is ridiculous, I said. You cannot be serious. You are turning our breakup into some kind of press conference. The woman shifted her bag on her shoulder. Look, she said, I do not want to fight with you. I just do not want my name dragged into a story that is not mine. He told me what you said to him, about replacing him, about how easy it would be. And you believe that? I asked sharply. I believe he was hurt, she said, and I believe he has a right to leave if he feels that way. You do realize he was talking to you while we were together, I said. But sure, I am the only one who did anything wrong. She met my eyes steadily. We have known each other for months, she said. We work in the same building. We talked about work, about life. He never crossed a line. He never crossed a line. He did not flirt. He did not vent about you to me. Yesterday he told me, I think my relationship is over. I told him to go home and talk to you. I did not tell him to post that picture. He did that on his own. Then why are you here? I demanded. Because once he made it public, she said honestly, I realized you might blame me for something that was already broken before I ever walked in. Daniel stepped slightly closer to her, not touching, but almost. She is not the reason I asked you to leave, he said. You are. That line took you less than a week to prepare, did it? I snapped. The woman took a small breath. He told me what you said, she repeated quietly, about being able to replace him in a week. I cannot tell you how to feel. I can only tell you how it sounded from the outside. It sounded like you did not value him. At all. You do not even know me, I said. You are right, she replied. I do not. I only know what I heard. And based on that, I know I will not need a week either. The sentence was said without triumph, no smugness, just simple matter of fact. It still hit like a slap. Get out, I whispered. Both of you. Just get out of my sight. Daniel did not move. You are the one with the suitcase, he said quietly. This is still your chance to leave with some dignity. I stared at the suitcase, at the door, at the two of them. I wanted to throw something. I wanted to scream. I wanted to list every flawed thing he had ever done. I wanted to tell her a dozen unflattering stories until she saw him the way he looked to me on his worst days. Instead, I picked up the suitcase handle. Because as much as it hurt, there was a part of me that understood something uncomfortable. I had lit the match. He had decided to burn the bridge in one go instead of watching it slowly smolder. So that is how I ended up where I began this story. Sitting on the curb outside our building, suitcase at my side, phone in my hand, watching the evening sky darken while messages poured in. Friends, his sister, people who had seen his new profile picture, my own earlier story. Some people cannot handle a joke, look childish now, because it was not a joke, not to him. Not after months of feeling like every effort he made was invisible unless I turned it into content. Not after feeling like I kept him on a mental list titled, "People who are lucky to have me." I kept waiting for him to come down, to say, "All right, we went too far. Come back upstairs. We will talk." He did not. At some point, my phone buzzed again. A text from him. "I left a folder in your bag with all the information about the bills, subscriptions, and the storage unit. You will need those when you find your new place. Please do not contact me unless it is about something practical. I hope we both learn something from this." That was it. No, I still care. No, maybe in time we can talk. Just a clean cut. Here is the part where you expect me to say, "I was the worst, he was an angel, I ruined everything." I am not going to do that. He was not perfect. He did talk to me like I was a trainee sometimes. He did correct everything. He did treat the home like a project more than a shared space. He could be cold, detailed, stubborn. He also did not sit down with me and say, "I met someone I get along with, and it made me realize what is missing from us." He let that connection grow quietly in the background. Maybe not into anything romantic, but into something that was there, waiting, the moment he decided he was done. He could have chosen therapy. He could have chosen a long talk. He chose an exit with proof. At the same time, I am not going to sit here and act like my line was harmless. I told a man who had been building a life with me that I could swap him out like a worn-out appliance. I said it to hurt him. I wanted him to picture me laughing with someone else. I wanted him to imagine me walking away without looking back. I wanted him to feel what I felt when he acted like I could never manage my life without his charts and lists. I treated the idea of replacing him like a performance, not a serious statement. He treated my words like a contract. That mismatch is where everything broke. I am staying with a friend now. She has let me take over her living room with my boxes. She is supportive, but she is not sugarcoating anything. "Why did you say it?" she asked me on the first night. "That line, the weak thing." "I wanted him to stop acting like I would crumble without him," I said. "I wanted him to see he is not the only one with options." "Did you believe it?" she asked. "Technically, yes," I said. "I am not terrible. I could find someone eventually." "Eventually is not a week," she replied. "And even if you could, why is that something you tell the person you are with? What reaction were you hoping for?" "I wanted him to be scared," I admitted, "to realize I can walk." "And what did you actually prove?" she asked. I looked at the ceiling. "That I can be replaced faster than I thought," I said. She nodded. "Any line that involves 'I can replace you' is basically you telling the other person they are a placeholder," she said. "Why would anyone want to keep playing that role?" The annoying part is she is right. I wanted power. I wanted to flip the script where he is the responsible one saving me. I wanted to remind him that I am not stuck. Instead, I showed him exactly why he should not stay. Because who wants to share their life with someone who treats them like a role anyone could fill? Since this is online now, you have probably already formed an opinion. But I have also seen what happens when stories like this go viral. People pick teams. Some say, "She played silly games, she got a predictable result." They clip the one line, "I could replace you in a week," and ignore the months before it. They write paragraphs about how modern partners do not value commitment, how everyone thinks they are the prize. Others focus on him. He already had someone lined up, that is suspicious. They point at the new profile picture. They count the hours between our fight and that cafe shot and decide he must have been planning this for a long time. If you are wondering, yes, I read the comments. I watched strangers call me arrogant. I watched other strangers call him calculated. Someone wrote, "This is why you do not test people with fake threats. Sometimes they call them." That one stayed with me, because that is exactly what I did. I made a fake threat and assumed he would treat it as fake. He did not. He treated it as permission. Permission to stop trying. Permission to walk away without feeling like he had abandoned me. Permission to move towards someone who did not speak about him like a replaceable part. I can sit here and argue about details, timing, method, whether the lunch photo was necessary. But the core remains. I opened the door. He walked through it. I know someone will listen to this and think, I have definitely said that, or thought it. Maybe you have even worse lines. Maybe you have looked at your partner and said, there are plenty of people who would treat me better, or, you are lucky I am still here, or, I could find someone tomorrow. Maybe when you say it, you are like me, you do not mean it literally. You just want them to feel a fraction of the sting you are feeling. Here is the uncomfortable truth I had to face. If you keep telling someone you could leave at any moment, at some point you are no longer the one controlling that idea. They are. The next time you feel that sentence building in your throat, ask yourself what reaction you actually want. Do you want them to panic? To beg? To promise to change out of fear? Or do you want them to respect you? Because panic and respect do not grow in the same soil. I thought I was being powerful when I said I could replace him. I see now that I was just announcing to him that he was standing on thin ice. He chose to step off it before it broke under him. It has been a few weeks since the suitcase and the curb. No, we have not spoken. There was one practical email about splitting a remaining bill. That is it. I moved into a small rented room. The kind of place you end up in when you have to find something quickly and cannot be picky. The walls are thin. The neighbors are noisy. There is no dishwasher for anyone to correct. Sometimes I catch myself loading dishes into the drying rack and hearing his voice in my head. If you alternate the plates, you get more in. I still do it my way, but now, when I leave a pan soaking, there is no one to complain. There is also no one to make coffee in the morning. No one to send me links to better deals on electricity. No one to remind me to cancel a subscription before it renews. The silence that used to feel like freedom now sometimes feels like a test I did not prepare for. I am not going to claim I miss him every second. There are things I genuinely do not miss. The constant corrections, the way he would inspect the house like a manager at the end of a shift. But I miss the stability, the feeling that someone had the details handled, the knowledge that if I forgot something, he had already thought of it. I used to mock that. Now I understand its value. I am learning to create that for myself, slowly, badly, with a lot of reminders on my phone. And, yes, I am in therapy. Not because he asked me to be. Because I do not want to be the person who reaches for the cruelest line every time I feel cornered. People always ask this at the end of stories like mine. If he called you tomorrow and said, I made a mistake, would you go back? The easy answer, the one that makes me look strong and healed, would be, no, we are done. He crossed the line too. The honest answer, I do not know. Part of me remembers the suitcase by the door, the cafe picture, the woman standing there telling me she does not need a week either, and thinks, never again. Another part of me remembers the years before the dishes and the pan and the line, the way he looked at me when we first moved in together, the way he would stay up late helping me with boring tasks I always avoided, the way he put my name down as his emergency contact without making a big speech about it. That part still aches. But here is the thing. Even if he did call, even if he did say he regretted how fast he moved, the sentence I said would still exist. He would still know that, in a moment where I wanted power, I reached for the idea of replacing him. He might forgive it. He would never forget it. And I would always be living with that shadow. So maybe the better question is not, would I take him back? But would going back turn either of us into a better version of ourselves? Right now, the answer feels like no. If there is anything I want anyone to take from this, it is not feel sorry for me or hate him. It is this: do not turn your partner into a prop in your personal story about how desirable you are. If you need to feel wanted, find ways to build that feeling that do not involve telling the person who shows up for you that they are optional. Because maybe they are not optional. Maybe they are the reason your life feels as stable as it does. You do not notice the flaw until it shifts. I joked that I could change the flaw in a week. He opened a door, stepped out, and let it vanish under me in a day. He says he found clarity. I am still sitting with the echo of my own words, learning the hard way that some jokes are really just confessions dressed up as clever lines. And sometimes, the person you aim them at does not just get hurt. They get up, they leave, and they prove you right in a way you never actually wanted.